I didn't know garbage could accessorize.
Go away before I get angry.
Bullies ripped the shy girl's shirt. Her judo throw sent them flying down the hallway. The sound of ripping fabric echoed through the marble hallways of Westmont Academy like thunder in a storm. 17-year-old Haley Sinclair stood frozen in the crowd of aristocratic students, her trembling hands covering her navy blazer, which had been torn, revealing the white shirt underneath. The fabric fell to the cold marble floor like fragments of her dignity. Look at the scholarship girl, Tyler Hastings. 18. The son of a billionaire with royal blonde hair and a cruel smile chuckled with satisfaction. His manicured hands still clutched the expensive blazer, the only one Haley could wear to this prestigious school. Think you deserve to stand with us next to Tyler Marcus Chen and Brad Williams, two members of the Westmont Noble gang, also laughed their latest iPhones raised high to record videos. A crowd of about 30 students gathered around some giggling others silent, but no one dared to intervene. Poor thing, Marcus shouted, his voice shrill with contempt. You must have picked this up from the donation bin, right? Or maybe borrow mom's cleaning supplies, Brad chimed in, causing the crowd to erupt in cruel laughter. Haley bowed her head, tears threatening to fall. She wanted to disappear, to run away from this place, but the high marble walls surrounded her like a prison. Her heart pounded like a bird trapped in a golden cage. Tyler took a step forward, eyes shining with evil intent. Hey, I think I should rip this shirt off. Wearing cheap clothes is embarrassing for the school. That was the last straw. As Tyler reached out to grab Haley's shirt, something in her changed. Her brown eyes lifted, no longer filled with fear, but instead with a cold determination no one had ever seen before. With a lightning-quick movement, Haley grabbed Tyler's wrist. For a split second, she thought of all those secret judo sessions with her grandfather in the slums, all the teachings about self-defense. Then she acted. Haley turned, lowered her center of gravity, and executed a perfect ippon, shoinage, the over-the-shoulder throw her grandfather had taught her as a child. Tyler, all 75 kilograms, flew over Haley's shoulder like a rag doll. Time stood still as Tyler floated through the air, eyes wide with shock, mouth open but unable to make a sound. He flew through the hallway in a perfect circle, covering nearly 20 feet, before hitting his back on the marble floor with a thud that echoed throughout the ancient building. The entire Westmont Academy froze in absolute silence. Westmont Academy is no ordinary school. Set on 200 acres of expensive land in Connecticut, this prestigious private school has been educating CEOs, politicians, and wealthy heirs for more than 150 years. Annual tuition is $60,000, not counting additional fees for dormitory extracurricular activities and the voluntary contributions that families routinely make. Haley Sinclair was a rare exception in this aristocratic world. She was awarded a full scholarship thanks to her excellent academic performance and difficult family circumstances. Her mother, Linda Sinclair, worked double shifts at a food packaging plant in Hartford to make ends meet. Her father died when she was 12, leaving the family in debt in a small house in a working-class neighborhood. Haley's grandfather, Robert Sinclair, was a military veteran who taught her judo as a child in his old garage. Judo is more than just a martial art, girl, he once said. It's how you learn to stand up for yourself in life, no matter how hard it gets. When Haley received the Westmont scholarship, her family was overjoyed. This was her chance to break the cycle of poverty and have a bright future. But they had no idea that Westmont was also a world of prejudice and class discrimination. Tyler Hastings, on the other hand, was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. His father, Jonathan Hastings, owns a $3 billion real estate empire. His mother, Victoria, sits on the board of several prestigious charities. Tyler grew up in a world where money solves everything and power is inherited through the generations. At Westmont, Tyler isn't just a student, he's the school's unofficial prince. He can do anything without real consequences because his family has donated millions of dollars to the school over the years. During her first 2 years at Westmont, Haley tried to hide in plain sight. She studied hard, kept her grades up, and tried to stay out of trouble. But her presence, a working-class girl in an aristocratic world, was still an uncomfortable reminder of social inequality for people like Tyler. The bullying started small, Tyler, and the gang would accidentally knock over Haley's books, make fun of her accent, or forget to invite her to group activities. But gradually it escalated. Today, when Tyler decided to rip Haley's blazer off in front of the whole school, he crossed a line from which there was no turning back. The incident quickly caught the attention of the entire school and the administration. Within an hour, a video of Haley throwing Tyler 20 feet went viral on student social media. Westmont Judo and Basher Haley the Hero began trending, but so did negative hashtags like Canada's scholarship violence. Principal Margaret Garrison, a 58-year-old with 25 years of experience in private education, finds herself in an unprecedented situation. On one side is Tyler Hastings, the son of one of the school's biggest donors. On the other is Haley Sinclair, a high-achieving student from a disadvantaged background. "We need to handle this carefully," Ms. Garrison told Vice Chancellor James Morrison at an emergency meeting. "The Hastings family could pull all their funding if we're not careful." But first, she had to comply with federal law. Under Title IX of the Education Act of 1972, schools are required to investigate any allegations of sexual harassment or discrimination based on sex. Tyler ripping off a female student's shirt could be considered sexual harassment. Dr. Amanda Foster, the school's Title IX coordinator, was called in to begin the investigation. She is an experienced attorney who knows that cases like this can have serious legal consequences if not handled properly. "We need to interview all the witnesses," Dr. Foster said, "and we need to look at whether this was an isolated incident or part of a pattern of harassment." What the school board didn't know was that a student had been secretly recording this pattern for months. Jasmine Wright, 17, captain of Westmont's debate team and one of the few students of color at the school, has witnessed Tyler and his gang's behavior over the past 2 years. The daughter of a civil rights attorney, Jasmine knows the importance of documenting evidence. Jasmine kept a detailed diary documenting each incident, dates, witnesses, and specific descriptions of the bullying. She also kept photos and videos taken in secret showing Tyler and his gang attacking vulnerable students. This isn't the first time, Jasmine told Dr. Foster in the interview. Tyler has done this to other girls, especially those from less wealthy families or minorities. Jasmine produced a thick file of detailed notes. Sarah Martinez, a Latino student, was accidentally pushed down the stairs by Tyler and the group, breaking her wrist. Aisha Patel, a student of Indian descent, was cyberbullied by Tyler's group, who created fake social media accounts. Rachel Kim, a Korean-American student, was commented on by Tyler about the smell of kimchi and going back home every time she passed by. "I tried to report these things," Jasmine continued, "but every time the teachers said it was just a student prank or a misunderstanding, the Hastings family always donated a large sum of money right away, and the whole thing was hushed up." Dr. Foster realized that this was not just an isolated incident, but a systemic problem that had been going on for years at Westmont. While the investigation was ongoing, Tyler and his gang did not stop. Instead, they escalated their revenge. 2 days after the judo throw incident, while Haley was sitting alone in the cafeteria, Tyler approached her table with Marcus and Brad following. "Hey kid," Tyler said, his voice cold. "You think you can beat me?" Before Haley could react, Tyler yanked on her new school-issued blazer, ripping off part of the sleeve. The entire cafeteria looked on, but no one dared to intervene. "This is just the beginning," Tyler whispered in Haley's ear. "I'm going to show you hell." That evening, an anonymous Instagram account named Westmont Truth posted a series of posts about Haley photoshopped image of her in janitor uniform with caption, "Back to where you belong." Fake quotes attributed to her about seducing rich boys for money. Personal information about her family background, including home address. These posts were quickly shared and commented on ruthlessly. Haley received hundreds of direct messages with threats and insults. "Kill yourself, a scholarship trash. You don't belong here. We know where you live." Haley sat in her tiny dorm room, shaking as she read each message. She called her mother, but she didn't dare tell her the whole truth for fear of worrying her. "Are you okay?" Linda asked over the phone, her voice filled with concern. "I'm fine, Mom," Haley lied. "Just school stress." But Jasmine Wright wasn't going to let it go. She took screenshots of all the Instagram posts and traced the IP address of the Westmont Truth account. It was created from the Westmont dormitory network, specifically from the floor where Tyler and his group lived. "I have evidence," Jasmine told Dr. Foster in an emergency meeting. "And I believe this is just the tip of the iceberg." Jasmine produced a USB drive containing terabytes of data, screenshots, videos, audio recordings and testimonies from dozens of victims of Tyler and his gang over the past 3 years. We're talking about institutional cover-ups. Jasmine said, her voice as firm as a seasoned lawyer's. And if the school doesn't take action, I'm going to take all this to the media. Dr. Foster realized that Westmont was facing a scandal that could destroy the school's reputation. She immediately planned a full investigation and asked the school board to convene a disciplinary hearing for Tyler and his group. But Tyler Hastings is not the type to give up easily. 3 days after the Instagram posts were published, Tyler decided to confront her directly. He knew that Haley often went to the library at night to study and avoid stares in the dormitory. Westmont's Whitman Library is a Gothic revival building with soaring bookshelves and a quiet atmosphere. At 9 p.m., it's nearly empty, save for a few students and Mrs. Eleanor Patterson, the 45-year-old librarian working the evening shift. Haley was sitting in a corner trying to concentrate on her advanced calculus homework when Tyler appeared. He wasn't alone. Marcus and Brad were standing in the exit, blocking her way out. "I finally found you," Tyler said, his voice full of hostility. "You think you'll be safe hiding in here?" Haley stood up, trying to walk toward the other exit, but Tyler blocked her way. He gripped her arm, his nails digging into her skin. "I told you I'd show you hell," Tyler hissed. "You think that judo move is going to scare me? I'll show you who's really in charge here." That's when Haley made her second move. With one swift movement, she escaped Tyler's grip and performed an osoto gari, an outside leg sweep. Tyler lost his balance and fell backwards, his head hitting the edge of an antique oak table. "Help!" Haley screamed. "Someone help me!" Mrs. Patterson ran over immediately, and luckily Jasmine Wright had been secretly following Tyler and recording the whole thing on her phone. "I wrote it all down," Jasmine told Mrs. Patterson, "and I called security and Principal Garrison." Tyler stood up, blood flowing from a small cut on his head, his face red with anger and shame. "These bitches will pay," he shouted. "Mr. Hastings, Mrs. Patterson, sock, language." But the damage was done. Jasmine's video not only shows Tyler attacking Haley, but also captures his vulgar and threatening words. A disciplinary hearing was held a week later in the main conference room of Westmont, with Principal Garrison, Dr. Foster, school board members, and legal representatives from both sides in attendance. The Hastings family hired Cromwell and Associates, one of Connecticut's most expensive law firms, with a team of 5 high-profile lawyers. They came with a clear strategy: character assassination and victim blaming. "Our client is the victim here," lead attorney David Cromwell began. "Tyler Hastings was attacked by a student who was trained in martial arts, something the school was unaware of. This was a failure of the school's background check. But Jasmine Wright and her mother, attorney Michelle Wright, were well prepared. Wright is a prominent civil rights lawyer with a track record of fighting for justice in institutional discrimination cases. "We're not here to talk about self-defense," attorney Wright said. "We're here to talk about systematic harassment, sexual assault, and institutional cover-ups that have been going on at this school for years." She presented a 200-page evidence package that Jasmine had compiled, which included detailed timelines showing Tyler's harassment pattern affecting 23 different students, financial records showing donations to Hastings family, coinciding voichasi incident reports being lost, testimonies to 15 victims willing to go on record, expert analysis of psychological impact, CUA systematic bullying. Haley was called up to testify. She stood before the panel, no longer the shy girl that Tyler had tried to intimidate. "I don't want to be here," Haley began, her voice steady and clear. "I just want to get an education and have a better future for my family. But from the first day I came to this school, I was targeted because of my economic background." She details each incident, from poverty jokes to physical assault and cyberbullying. She doesn't cry, she doesn't beg, she simply presents facts. "Tyler Hastings ripped my shirt off in front of 30 other students," she said. "It wasn't self-defense on my part. It was protecting my dignity as a human being." Principal Garrison finds himself in an impossible situation. On one side is pressure from his major donor family. On the other side is clear evidence of wrongdoing and potential legal liability. Finally, she made the decision. Tyler would be suspended for 2 weeks and required counseling. Marcus and Brad received written warnings, and Tyler had to publicly apologize in front of the whole school. But this is just the calm before the storm. Tyler Hastings did not accept the results of the disciplinary hearing. In his privileged mind, being punished for being a poor girl was unthinkable. He decided to escalate to a level that no one could have expected. Instead of accepting suspension, Tyler recruited allies, other students from wealthy families, including several seniors with connections to organized crime families on the East Coast. Their plan was to teach Haley a lesson she would never forget. The opportunity came when Haley had to go to the nurse's office with severe headaches, the result of stress and anxiety from ongoing harassment. Nurse Mary Chen went home early due to a family emergency, leaving the office empty at 4 p.m. Tyler and his crew, now 6 men including 2 new upperclassmen recruits, ambush Haley while she is alone in the medical facility. "Surprise, bitch," Tyler sneered as he locked the door behind them. "Think complaining to the principal will protect you." Haley realized immediately that this was no longer simple harassment. The eyes of Tyler and the others were filled with a darker intent than anything she had ever seen. "We'll show you what it means to know your place," one of the seniors said. "And after today, you're transferring schools or worse." But they didn't count on Sophia Chen, the nurse's younger sister and a junior at Westmont. Sophia was waiting for her sister when she saw Tyler's crew enter the nurse's office. Instinctively, she started live streaming on her Instagram. "Oh my God, guys," Sophia whispered via phone. "Something's happening in the nurse's office. Tyler Hastings Vamat Bunch Seniors Jang." Sophia's live stream quickly attracted viewers. Within 2 minutes, more than 200 people were watching, including students, parents, and even some reporters who were following the Westmont story. Inside the nurse's office, Tyler begins to escalate intimidation. "You have 2 choices," he told Haley. "Transfer immediately and keep your mouth shut about everything that happened, or we will make sure you never feel safe anywhere." One of the seniors, Tony Marcelli, the son of an alleged mob lawyer, pulled out his phone and showed Haley photos of her home and her mother's workplace. "We know everything about your family," Tony said. "Your mother works night shift at the Hartford packing plant. Very dangerous neighborhood. Anything can happen." Haley felt blood drain from her face. This was no longer school bullying. This was real threats with real consequences. But outside, Sophia's live stream has attracted the attention of authorities. A parent watching the stream has called 911, and Connecticut State Police are en route. Campus security has also been notified and headed toward the nurse's office. Inside room, Tyler made fatal mistake. The Haley Kong response hand decided to escalate physically. "Maybe we need to convince you another way," he said, reaching toward Haley. That's when Haley's judo training kicked in for the 3rd time, but this time with the adrenaline of genuine fear for her life. Tyler lunged. Haley executed perfect uchimata, sending hand flying via medical cabinet. Glass vials via instruments scattered everywhere. Marcus tried to grab her from behind. Ko whipped around Voy elbow strike, followed by Soi Nang, sending Han crashing via door. Chaos erupted. Tony Va seniors rushed in, and Hung Haley had positioning advantage via desperation of someone fighting for survival. So used furniture, via medical equipment, Hugh weapons executing judo techniques, combined Voy improvised combat. Suddenly door burst open. Campus security led by Director Frank Torres, Mott former Marine, rushed in followed by Connecticut State Police. "Everybody down now!" Officer Martinez shouted. Scene was chaos. Tyler bleeding to cuts from broken glass. Marcus unconscious to head impact. Voy door medical supplies scattered everywhere. Vay Haley standing in center, breathing hard. Hung clearly ready to continue fighting. Hung most importantly, Tuanbo incident had been live streamed by Sophia to hundreds of viewers with screen recordings already being shared across social media platforms. Video evidence is undeniable. Tyler and crew have been caught red-handed in a planned assault with threatening language clearly audible and visual evidence of premeditation. Within hours, story exploded beyond Westmont Academy. Tasha Westmont scandal began trending nationally. News outlets picked up story of elite schools cover-up culture, scholarship student fights back against privilege. Tyler Hastings, Marcus Chen, Brad Williams, Tony Marcelli, Thai seniors CAC were arrested on charges including conspiracy assault, terroristic threats via Trung Tyler's case, multiple counts COA harassment, via sexual misconduct. Principal Garrison faced Voy undeniable evidence. The mounting public pressure announced emergency measures. Tyler, Marcus, Brad, they all co-conspirators, were immediately expelled. Full investigation into institutional failures would be conducted by outside firm. All staff involved Trong. Previous cover-ups would be reviewed for disciplinary action. New policies for harassment, for discrimination would be implemented. Nung damage to Westmont's reputation was devastating. Major donors began withdrawing support. Enrollment applications dropped 60%. Media camped outside school gates. Most significantly, federal authorities launched their own investigation into potential Title IX violations, VA civil rights abuses. Department of Education opened formal inquiry into whether Westmont had systematically discriminated against students based on economic status, race, VA gender. Sao Mot Tuan intensive media coverage Principal Garrison announced her resignation. I take full responsibility for institutional failures that allowed this culture to develop, but stated in press conference. Board of Trustees appointed interim leadership. They promised complete overhaul Siwa school culture for policies. Nung real victory wasn't institutional changes. No law cultural shift Ma Haley's courage had inspired. Students across country began sharing their own stories, skew harassment, VA discrimination, to elite schools. Nash scholarship students strong became rallying cry Chonhang students to lower income backgrounds facing similar challenges. Haley received scholarship offers to dozens of universities impressed Hong Chi by her academic achievements, Ma by her courage in standing up to systemic abuse. Tyler Hastings faced real consequences for first-time Trong life. Family's attempts to use money via influence to make charges disappear failed. KHI federal authorities took over case. Hen was tried as adult Vi, sentenced to 18 months Trong, juvenile facility plus community service, via mandatory counseling. Sao Thang Sao, Incidents Westmont Academy. Jun become case study, Trong institutional reform. School hired new administration, committed to diversity, VA inclusion. Enrollment CQA students through diverse backgrounds increased 400%. New policies require sensitivity training, Cho all students via zero tolerance policy, Cho harassment. Haley Sinclair was invited to testify before U.S. Senate Subcommittee on Education for need for stronger protections, co-students facing discrimination. Kuo stood before senators, no longer shy scholarship student, a confident advocate, Cho change. We're not just changing policies, Haley told packed hearing room. We're changing culture. We're saying that privilege doesn't give anyone rights to abuse others. We're saying that every student deserves dignity regardless of their background. Jasmine Wright, inspired by experience, decided to pursue law degree Voy focus on civil rights. Kuo was accepted to Harvard Law School, Voy full scholarship. Sophia Chen, whose live stream had been crucial evidence, became certified self-defense instructor. We started program teaching young women about personal safety. Mrs. Eleanor Patterson, librarian, who had called for help, was promoted to director of student safety. They helped develop new protocols to protect vulnerable students. Even Tyler's experience had positive outcome. Seiyu extensive counseling, the community service working, Voy underprivileged youth and developed genuine understanding. Via his privilege va became advocate show criminal justice reform. Mot Num, Sao initial incident documentary film, Standing Up the Westmont Story, premiered at Sundance Film Festival. Film followed journeys kue all participants for examined broader issues v privilege power, va institutional accountability, trong American education. Film's success led to national conversation the need for reform to elite institutions. Several other prestigious schools proactively implemented changes to avoid similar scandals. Haley graduated valedictorian to reform Westmont. They accepted full scholarship to Stanford University to study social justice law. Trong graduation speech co-reflected on journey. A year ago, I was just trying to survive. Today, I'm helping others thrive. That's not because I was stronger or braver than anyone else. It's because sometimes when you're pushed to your limit, you discover strength you didn't know you had. And when good people see injustice, they find courage to stand up. Real victory wasn't just personal justice for Haley. No-law systemic change rippled throughout education system. Hundreds of schools implemented new anti-bullying policies. Federal legislation was proposed to strengthen protections, show vulnerable students. Most importantly, cultural shift had occurred. Students across country learned that privilege doesn't protect abusers anymore, but that victims have power key they find courage, just speak truth. Westmont Academy, one symbol QA entitled Privilege became model, show inclusive education. Story became reminder, rang individual courage can spark institutional change. While that justice ultimately prevails, key good people refuse, just stay silent. Haley's judo throws had sent Tyler flying 20 feet across hallway. Knowing her courage had sent waves of change across entire nation, proving Rang's sometimes smallest person strong. Room co-power to move mountains.